My cabin destroyed the HOA president who tried to steal it. Margaret Thornton's perfect makeup streamed down her face as hidden speakers, lights, and sprinklers burst in sync, turning her fancy fundraiser into a soaked disaster. She'd seized my lakefront retreat for her event, using a bylaw she'd secretly rewritten, unaware that every inch of my home was a high-tech trap. "I'm taking your cabin for my party," she declared, barging in without permission. If only she'd known what awaited her and her elite guests. "I'm Ethan Carter, an AI security engineer, and this is how my grandfather's rustic cabin became a digital fortress that taught a ruthless HOA tyrant a lesson about trespassing on the wrong property." Nestled on Clearwater Lake's eastern shore in Wisconsin, my two-story cabin, built by my grandfather in the 1960s, was my sanctuary after a tough divorce 9 months ago. By day, I designed military-grade security systems. By night, I poured my heart into restoring this retreat. One crisp morning, I was sipping coffee on the deck, lake mist swirling, when a sleek black SUV rolled up my gravel drive. Margaret Thornton, HOA president, didn't knock. She strode in, heels clicking, claiming my kitchen island like a throne. "Lovely morning, Ethan," she purred, her styled hair shining as she scanned my cabin, scheming. "I'm hosting a mayoral fundraiser, and this place is perfect. Rustic with your modern touch. Next Saturday." It wasn't a request. It was an order. "I'm not hosting events," I said calmly. Her smile tightened, eyes flashing surprise. Margaret wasn't used to refusal. "Have you read the HOA bylaws? Section 12.3, Temporary Property Use for Community Benefit. My fundraiser qualifies." I nearly choked. "This is my private property." She stood, snapping photos. "As president, I define community benefit. We updated the bylaws 6 months ago. You were notified." She measured my deck as I asked her to leave. "Vacate by noon Saturday," she said, gliding out. I called Lila Mason, who ran Lakeside Diner. "Margaret's not just running for mayor," Lila warned. "She's tied to Charles Benton, a billionaire developer eyeing your land for a resort." Lila's family had lost their lakefront diner to Margaret's fake violations, forced to sell cheap. "She'll do anything legal or not." That evening, an HOA letter cited the bylaw, Margaret's signature bold beside a note. Excited for the fundraiser. She'd hidden the clause in a 30-page landscaping update, giving her near total control over private property. But she'd picked the wrong cabin. My grandfather, a military engineer, had wired this place with hidden conduits during Cold War fears. I'd turned it into a testing ground for my AI security system, Clearwater Automated Kinetic Entity, CAKE. Margaret wanted war. I'd give her a technological ambush. In the basement, I found my grandfather's lockbox with schematics showing secret wiring and a control panel behind a cedar wall. His 1970s system was simple but clever, perfect for integrating CAKE. "Thanks, Grandpa," I whispered, feeling his strength in the woodwork. I visited Henry Walsh, a retired prosecutor who'd lived on the lake for decades. "Margaret's been tweaking bylaws for years," he said, showing documents. "She's ousted 8 homeowners. All legal but shady. That clause was slipped into a decoration update no one noticed." He warned she likely kept my keys from when she sold me the cabin. That night, I found my coffee mug moved. Someone had been inside. Footage showed Simon Reed, Margaret's compliance officer, using a copied key, photographing my rooms. I installed biometric locks and activated CAKE, programming non-lethal traps, speakers with loud tones, thermostats swinging from hot to cold, sprinklers for surprise soaks. CAKE's facial recognition would tag intruders, tailoring chaos for Margaret and Simon. Simon returned the next day. CAKE flickered lights, dropped the temperature, and zapped doorknobs with static. When he aimed his phone at my office, sprinklers soaked him. He fled, dropping a folder with plans for Clearwater Resort, my cabin marked as the main lodge, demolition set post-fundraiser. By the lake, I met Nora Ellis, a biologist studying Clearwater's ecosystem. "This resort would kill the lake," she said, eyeing the plans. "Runoff would destroy native species. Benton's known for dodging regulations." She'd fought Margaret's schemes before, losing a conservation project to bribes. Your cabin's just the start, Nora warned. County records revealed Margaret's pattern: fake violations, fines, community use seizures, and sales to Benton's shell companies. My cabin, worth $650,000, was targeted for $200,000 with a $5 million resort profit. Environmental reports were altered, Nora's name forged to approve the fraud. Margaret's next move was a fake violation: water damage to a non-existent neighbor, demanding repairs in 48 hours. I upgraded Cake, embedding cameras in lamps, lures, even the weather vane. Floorboards would blare country music for Simon. Margaret's presence would trigger heat spikes to ruin her makeup. At an HOA meeting, she called me a community threat, claiming my digital bunker endangered privacy. When I tried to speak, she silenced me with procedural tricks. Neighbors bought her lies, eyeing me warily. A text from an unknown number offered intel on Margaret, attaching a photo of my desk with resort plans. Another break-in. At a diner, Lila and Nora joined me, forming a resistance. Lila recounted losing her diner to Margaret's schemes. Nora found Benton's permits for my land, surveys already ordered. Cake detected new microphones in my cabin. I jammed them, feeding fake chatter. James Thornton, Margaret's husband, knocked nervous. They're listening. At a park, he revealed her $4 million cut from Benton's $200 million resort, my cabin the centerpiece. She's done this before, he admitted, guilty over a researcher's near-suicide after Margaret ruined her project. A legal notice confirmed the fundraiser, claiming I'd agreed to host. Lawyers said fighting it would take months. Margaret was betting on my surrender. Alone, I nearly dismantled Cake, drained from my divorce. Then I found a photo of me and Grandpa fishing. This cabin's our history, he'd said. Never let it go. Resolve surged. I'd fight for his legacy, my sanctuary. Cake was fully armed. James's flash drive exposed years of Margaret's bribes and property grabs. My cabin labeled, requires special handling. I sent encrypted copies to Henry, Nora, and Lila, with orders to leak if I vanished. Cake caught surveyors sneaking soil samples at night. Illegal, undocumented work. Margaret's fundraiser wasn't just a party. It was a sales pitch for my home. I'd let her walk into my trap, exposing her to her guests. Henry found a bylaw loophole. Owners must be accommodated during community use. Margaret's demand I vacate was a violation. Nora confirmed Benton planned timber harvesting before the resort, a $60 million scam masked as development. An anonymous call warned, the mayor's office doesn't like meddlers. Margaret had cut senior services to silence Henry's support. Friday's email from Margaret to Benton read, property secured, owner handled. She'd advertised my cabin as Clearwater Lodge in papers, inviting 60 VIPs. I set Cake to record every word, its voice mimicry ready to play Margaret's damning quotes. Backup generators ensured no power cut would stop me. From Nora's cabin across the lake, I'd control everything. I left, faking compliance, as Margaret's SUV cruised by, our eyes locking. Saturday dawned clear, the lake gleaming. Margaret's crew arrived at noon, Simon trailing. Cake's floorboards blasted jazz at his steps, making him stumble in panic. Lila texted from her diner, Margaret sweating literally, ***, by 4 p.m., luxury cars rolled in. Benton, silver-haired, eyed my cabin like a prize. Ideal for the lodge, he said. Margaret cooed, pitching expansions. Cake turned up the heat, fogged mirrors with Lyre for Margaret, and played construction clangs when Benton spoke. At 6:30, they entered my office. Timeline for removing Carter? Benton asked. Done, Margaret lied. HOA events will make ownership impossible. He'll sell. Cake broadcaster voice. I'll be mayor. Rezoning without hearings. I rewrote bylaws to seize this cabin. Guests froze. Benton's voice followed. Resorts affront. Timbers $60 million. Build later. Chaos erupted. Sprinklers soaked the crowd, ruining suits and dresses. Screens flashed Margaret's emails, bribes, fraud, harassment. Benton stormed out, ending their deal. Margaret stood drenched alone, as Cake's TV read. "Enjoy the party?" Ask before entering. Guests filmed, James confessing, "This is real." I stayed silent too long. Nora sent evidence to news crews, who swarmed the scene. The county commissioner called the sheriff, distancing himself. Margaret's threats, lawsuits, and phone grabs confirmed her guilt. Cake recorded it all. Unstoppable. By 8 p.m., the party was over, patrol cars circling. I sent Truth Matters and Open Cake's files to police. Videos went viral, exposing Margaret's schemes. At an emergency HOA meeting, Henry cited my legal recording rights. James released timber plans. Residents shared stories, fines, threats, forced sales. Simon admitted bugging homes. I showed Margaret's key theft and fake event claims. A 94% vote ousted her. Lila became president. Nora's conservation project blocked the resort, protecting the lake. James's divorce exposed more fraud. Margaret fled, her campaign and license under fire. My cabin joined the Clearwater Historical Register, untouchable. The HOA cut fees, Lila leading openly. I formed a homeowner rights alliance helping other communities. Neighbors gathered on my deck, now a symbol of defiance. Margaret's schemes gave me purpose, healing me unintentionally. Grandpa's cabin stood proud, its AI now monitoring lake health, a fortress turned guardian. When asked about Clearwater, I say it wasn't my loss. It was trust, truth, and community. Technology was my weapon, but unity was my victory.